Give it up for Josh Johnson.
I've been loving getting to watch in real time the indictment of New York Mayor Eric Adams. This dude sucks so much. It's so bad. This dude sucks. I don't know who your mayor is, but be glad it's not Eric Adams. This dude is the worst. He's so corrupt. And it's like corruption. This is what's disappointing about Eric Adams' corruption, is that it's like petty. Do you know what I mean? We expect politics to be corrupt. It says a lot that we do, but a part of us, do you know what I mean? And what does that say about us to a certain degree? I think about that a lot. What does that say about our expectations, that we expect corruption? You know what I mean? At lots of levels, you know? City councilman did this thing, president did this thing, whatever it is, we expect it. And then when people run, we don't really believe in them. Maybe if someone can make us believe in them along the way, that's the person that we vote for, because we're like, wow, this person's different. But different from what? The expectation is corruption, you know? And he's corrupt in a way that's truly disappointing. It's a shame. It's embarrassing how easy a politician is to buy. You could lease a new Subaru, or you could buy a politician depending on the position of the state. The things these people go down for, we're talking not money if we're talking politics, right? Like if I was a senator and I wanted to be corrupt, you'd have to get me good. You have to take care of me, because I might lose my job. I might go to jail. I need a nest egg to protect me. You know, something to look forward to while I'm in jail doing all that time for doing you a favor and being corrupt. Like, that's why I don't agree with it, and I'm glad he's going down for it. But Menendez makes sense. He took gold bars. That's cartoonish corruption. That is like full on 1950s cartoon corruption. That is New Yorker political cartoon corruption, to just take actual gold bars. Where do you get gold bars from? And then take the gold bars to do the favor for the person. This is what's funny about Eric Adams being indicted, is that New York City is, and this is coming from someone who lives there, and I do love it in New York, right? But New York is a dirty place, all right? Inside and out, okay? It's one of the more corrupt places. So to be the first mayor to ever be indicted with corruption charges in New York City, you gotta be one of the dumbest people who has ever lived. It's a city of corruption, and you got caught. That's crazy. Sometimes I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he couldn't believe it. He was like, y'all, this is what we do. How y'all gonna get mad now? I did the regular amount of corruption. I didn't even go overboard. I got some flights upgraded. Why would y'all? No, it is that dumb. This dude... Eric Adams' corruption is so petty. This dude about to go to jail because he let Turkey upgrade some flights for him. He basically is gonna go to jail for what is Delta Gold Medallion. Like, it's just... It's very petty. Some nice meals, some flights. That's great that our mayor, New York's mayor, all it took to buy him was just treat him like a bad bitch for a night. Like, it's... Do you know how how embarrassing that is? Do you know how much money is in New York? I need at least 6 skyscrapers to be as corrupt as Eric Adams. I'd be like, take care of me. No, I need land. What are you talking about, a flight? A flight where I might fall asleep and miss my corruption? No. Because you know, sometimes you get upgraded by your airline, you get all excited, you like, oh, I'm sitting in, got the extra leg room and everything. I can kick for no reason and stuff. And then you wake up at the destination and you're like, dang, I didn't even enjoy the free glass of champagne and orange juice. That's his level of corruption. It's so dumb. He sucks. But Eric Adams started as a cop, right? And I actually watched this video of him. It was a very entertaining watch. Basically, when he was a cop, he did a video. Maybe he was still a cop. I don't know. Maybe it retired. But anyway, he used his police expertise to make the video. And it's basically a video where he shows parents how to search their children's rooms for drugs and guns, right? And the thing that's amazing about it is that clearly one of two things happened. Either Eric Adams told whoever was shooting the video to just go fill a room full of crack, or Eric Adams kept using the same 6 crack rocks in between takes. Because he was pulling crack out of places that didn't really make any sense. Like those, when you have crack, the intention is to smoke it or sell it. And where he was pulling, because then first of all, the room didn't make sense because the room is supposed to be a child's room, right? But the room has stuff for a kid that's about to head off to college or somebody in preschool. Like, there's just too much going on in the room. The room makes sense if you were never going to leave that room for 26 years. Like, it doesn't... The room did not make sense at all. So then Eric Adams would do weird stuff. Like, he'd be like, looks like a regular tricycle, right? But if you pop this tire right quick, you pop this tire, pull it out, what do we find? Crack cocaine. It was incredible. Like, looks like a regular doll, huh? But if you stab it in the back and rip it open, what do we find? Crack cocaine. And honestly, like, look, I even get the spirit behind what he's doing, but if your child is on crack, there will be other signs. Besides a heavy tricycle wheel. I've never seen a kid on a bike with a flat tire and been like, we're losing the youth. It's insane. This dude is over here going, a simple jewelry box. But if we open it, what do we find? A loaded gun. A pillow? You gave your child a pillow? And thought that they weren't gonna do the worst with it? You reach in that pillowcase, what do you find? A Glock. My favorite was standing near a bookcase. And he didn't say these words exactly, but the feeling that I got when I was watching him was just, you think your child reads? You think your little baby boy, baby girl reading in here? No. They were a child, and we all know children are what? Crackheads. You open this book, and what do you find? What spills out? Crack cocaine. No, it was incredible. It was truly, the only thing he did do was pull crack out of the gun. Like, and I can't stress this enough. Eric Adams is like terrible. He really is. Like, he really is. He's the worst. It's so bad. He sucks. He sucks so much. You should be so glad he's not your mayor. Like, that's. Oh man, I'll be honest with you. I didn't do the research. I don't know who your mayor is. I just know it's not Eric Adams. So you got 2 legs up on New York City. This dude, first of all, when he was running, he was corrupt. The dude was running, and he was already doing stuff where we were like, if it's not illegal, it's weird. This dude told the story of, because, he's a cop, and he reminds everybody all the time they used to be a cop, right? And it depends, because he does a thing that's real sneaky. He's really good at it, right? Where he was a black cop. So in some rooms, he's black. In some rooms, I used to be a cop. And never the 2 rooms shall meet. If like... It's crazy. Okay, so this dude, when he was running, would tell the story of a fallen officer, right? His friend that he loved dearly, who died in the line of duty, and he loved his friend so much that he keeps a picture of him in his wallet with him all the time, right? And it's a heartwarming story because no matter your feelings on cops, no matter your feelings on like the criminal justice system, I think everyone can understand what it's like to lose a friend, right? You can understand what it's like to lose, especially when you lose a friend when you're both in danger. Maybe you both were in the military together. Maybe you're both cops. Maybe you served in some way and then you lost your friend. And no one's going to know what that was like except for people who it also happened to, right? And he kept the picture in his wallet. Except the picture in his wallet that he showed people was printed out by his staff members, and they threw a little coffee on it to make it look old. And that's before he did anything illegal. This dude is the devil. Like, he really sucks. This dude, I don't even know how he won. He doesn't live in New York. You know how usually you have to live where you're the mayor of? I'm not gonna make any assumptions about your mayor, but I'm assuming they live here. I imagine your mayor doesn't actually live in Illinois. That would be weird, right? To come over and be like, hey, I'm here with y'all. We're in this together. I'ma go, though. Dude lived in Jersey. And then it got outed that he lived in Jersey. And so at the last second, he had the New York Times try to help him cover it. And they did a profile of him at his house in Brooklyn that he was clearly walking into for the first time. This dude walked in. You could tell he had never been in there before. He over here like, and as you can see, my wall. If you don't have one, you gotta get one. All right, these walls are fire. This dude walked in, and clearly, whatever staff was trying to help him look like he lived there, I feel like they tried to like Ocean's 11 it and like did it a little too late because they were clearly moving stuff into the place to make it look furnished. But then he probably called them and told like, hey, I'm on the way now. Y'all got to get out because the apartment did not make sense. You walk in and in the living room is the bed. That's an intern who had to drop the bed like as they like, what? And then, you know, they go, he opens the fridge because he really tried to do this MTV Cribs for the New York Times, right? And so then he opens the fridge and he's like, blat out my snacks, right? And there is way too much meat for Adams to be a vegan. There's so much meat. It looked like it was stocked by Hillshire Farms. There's way too much meat in there. Not even mistakable meat. Not even like, oh, I thought the Impossible Burger. Like, it was full-on meat. And when they ask him about it, he's like, oh, my son be sneaking in, you know what I mean? You know, because you know how when you have kids, you know, as parents, you know how when you have kids, they sneak into your home and leave food, you know what I mean? In the fridge uneaten. You know how children are. All they do is leave food in the fridge and smoke crack. That's what children do. This dude is the worst. This man brought back stop and frisk. If you don't know what stop and frisk is, it was practice in New York where basically the police could stop you at any time and frisk you, check you for drugs and weapons and stuff like that. It was very popular under like Giuliani and stuff, but it was like found to be pretty disproportionate because they would just stay in one place and check everybody there. You know? So it was just black and brown people. It was mostly black and Hispanic people that were like stopped and frisked. And it didn't even really work because the people with guns and drugs were like, I'll stay home. You know, they found when they did studies on it that, you know, more often than not, it was men, over 9% men. So it's like 99.3% men of the stop and frisk. And then also in the 90s were black and brown people. So it was like, I think like 5% white, right? Which is just go all over New York. You're allowed to stop and frisk. Just stop and frisk everywhere. Just do the Upper West Side. Do you know what I mean? Just be like, hey, what's in the briefcase though? That could be full of anything. But they didn't, so it was found to be like an unconstitutional practice. It was found unconstitutional in 2013, and the New York police like disbanded fully in 2020, and then Eric Adams brought it back. Which is odd, because this is my thing about Eric Adams, and what I mean about that chameleon move that he does is that Eric Adams, I don't even know the exact particulars of the story. All I know is that he was arrested when he was a kid. Some people say he was a member of a gang himself, right? And that he, got beat up by the police. He tells this story of being a victim of police brutality at like 14, 15. Him and his friend got caught. They had done two things. I think they had stolen some checks or something, and they stole something else, and it was when they were trying to cash the stolen check they got caught, and basically they got beat up at the police station. And apparently the way that I believe Eric tells it is that these white cops were beating him and his friend up, and then a black cop came in and told him to stop. And he was like, and that was the moment I decided that I wanted to be a police officer, turn my life around, everything, because I just saw the way that black cop moved, right? He's like, I saw the like the power, the respect. I saw the fear that people had, and I was like, that, oh, okay. It's a weird thing to pull from that lesson, but all right. We're all our own people. And so it's weird to me that he's so adamant about being punitive as someone who grew up the way that he grew up. It's very odd that he doesn't see himself in any of the youth that he wants to arrest or wants to punish. Like and that's even only part of why he sucks. Like, he sucks. This dude sucks so much. He's the worst. They opened the investigation into Eric Adams the way that the feds do, which is quietly. You know what I mean? The thing that's scary about the feds is that they always get you. Their conviction rate is in the 90s. So it's basically done. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when they show up, it's only a matter of time, right? And the feds opened an investigation into him, and this is like a year ago, that they came through and they were like, hey, we're gonna need everybody's cell phone. Your whole team, right? Which is already not great. Probably every mean thing I've ever said is on my cell phone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try to be a good person, but if you pull up on me and you snatch my cell phone, you're gonna be like, oh, you an asshole, okay. The cell phone feels safe. And the feds roll up and, take his laptop, his cell phone, everything. And this is how you know, this is how a guilty dude moves, right? So he goes ahead and gets swooped on when the feds come and get everybody's cell phone. And he's like, oh, actually, my cell phone, I don't have it on me, right? I don't have it. And they were like, okay, we'll bring it first thing tomorrow. And he brings it. Next day, brings it, right? And then he's like, actually, I had changed my password to keep my aides out of my phone, because you know how aides are, always trying to face ID you and see what your business is and everything, even though you email them personally and stuff. But like, try keeping my aides out of my phone. So went ahead and I'm giving it to you now, but just know that I had to change the password, keep my aides out of my phone, and I just forgot it. This dude moves like a man who cheats. Like, that's crazy. And the feds basically had so much on them that they were like, oh, we don't need your phone. Because we have every other phone that you text. Ooh. There's even instances of Adam's aides knowing things were illegal and then being like, y'all, this is illegal. They said it in the text, but y'all, this is illegal. I don't think he'll want to do it. And then, that text bubble? He'd be like, hey, this is illegal. I don't know if he'll want to do it. And then the person from Turkey or wherever would be like, are you sure? And then the text bubble. That bubble be cooking, right? That bubble be bubbling up, right? And then it go away for a second. And then it come back and be like, never mind, he's down. The amount of times that his aide said to other people, this is illegal. And then several texts later be like, so when are we? It was incredible, man. It's really fascinating. And then there was like, I think it was like one of his campaign aides, one of the people that worked under him, was being interrogated. And as soon as she realized the interrogation wasn't friendly, she was like, can I go to the bathroom real quick? And so they were like, yeah, sure. And then she went to the bathroom and apparently started mass deleting as many text messages as she could. But then she was in there so long that the fans were like, she deleted text messages. Like, nobody got a boo-boo that bad. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe she is shitting herself, but not. I can just imagine you realize your boss about to go to jail, you might go to jail too, and now you in the bathroom just, I'll be right out. Oh, it's bad. Oh no. Y'all still there? I can't stress this enough. This dude sucks. Like it's like, okay. Maybe one of the funniest things about the whole case is that we don't definitively know one way or the other, but there's a chance that this dude would, like, the last straw that broke everything, that had the roof come tumbling down, that kicked over his house of cards, might have been, maybe, Sabrina Carpenter. Inadvertently. I don't know if you remember, but Sabrina Carpenter did a music video for a song called Feather, right? And in that music video, she's in a church, right? And she got permission to be in that church. As controversial as everything was, and as much as the archdiocese freaked out after they saw the video and as upset as people were, she got permission, right? She did the right thing, and she asked, can I do my video here? She didn't just run in and be like, quick. She did everything by the book. Right? And the person that allowed her was a Monsignor, right? This Monsignor gave permission, shooting the church and everything. And then when the video comes out, obviously the archdiocese is all upset and stuff. They're like, nothing provocative or sexual should be in a church. That's what they said. Don't get weird with me. And so then they demoted the Monsignor. That's how mad they were, you know? They didn't fire him because I guess it's impossible to get fired at a church. You know, anybody else, any other job, they would have been like, you gotta go. But Catholic Church, they're like, no, we'll move you, don't worry. And basically, one of the things that came from that whole thing, especially how public it was the feds subpoenaed the archdiocese over the Monsignor because he had connections, like as in a relationship or maybe even a business relationship with Eric Adams' chief of staff, right? And so they were like looking into it, and then Sabrina Carpenter's moved on. She just sort of like, oh, I didn't realize it. Whoops. And I don't know. I think that people don't realize how much trouble Eric Adams is in because this isn't like a police thing. This isn't like a local police or something. Like local police could run cover for a mayor. And so Eric Adams gets indicted, right? Present day, he gets indicted, and this dude holds a press conference. It's one of the worst press conferences I've ever watched in my entire life. This is incredible. People talk about Giuliani and everything when he did that 4 Seasons press conference and stuff like that. Not gonna lie, this one put that one to shame, okay? This one was really, but first of all, they decided to do it outside. I don't really know why, but maybe he's not allowed in buildings. I have no idea, but they decided to do it outside, and they had a tent up because it was raining. But Eric Adams and he does this a lot. He does this in a way, this is one of the reasons I can't stand Eric Adams. This is one of the things that makes him suck, right? Is that whenever he's in trouble, whenever he needs something, he's very, very black. You know, and so now that he's in trouble, he has gathered around him every black person that will stand next to him, I suppose. And so he had everybody. He had so many people that they couldn't all fit under the tent. So now there are some people getting rained on halfway, just trying to lean in and everything. do the one-sided thing. And the press conference starts, and there's protesters at the press conference. And, Adams did some weird stuff. Like when he got indicted, he did like a message to New Yorkers and everything. And in the message, he says, like, I knew as soon as I stood up for New York, I would become a target. And then we were like, when did you stand up and who is targeting you? Like, this is odd. I've heard this language before, but I've never seen it make less sense since the last time I heard it. And finally, he goes ahead, he's doing press conference and stuff, and there's protesters there. And the protesters are screaming at him. They're like, you're an embarrassment. Don't try to act black now. You brought back stop and frisk. You brought back every policy that came down hard on the black community, but now you want to be black because you're in trouble and you want us to back you up and everything. And they're yelling. And the whole time, Eric Adams is like, You ever been at a restaurant and there's a couple trying not to fight? And then finally, one of them can't take it anymore, and she stands up, and she's like, you cheating bastard, or whatever. And then he's like, It was that. And so he just stands like, okay. And then he lets people speak for him, right? So his pastor speaks, and his other pastor speaks, and I think another pastor speaks. You go to extra church when you're in trouble, right? So then pastor after pastor after pastor are speaking, right? And all the pastors are like, hey, listen, we don't even know. Everybody has to have their day in court. Like, no one is actually professing this dude's innocence. Everybody's like, yeah, you can't judge lest ye be judged. And once again, remember, I told you it's one of the worst press conferences I've ever seen, because not only can not everybody fit under the tent, and not only are the people not making a convincing argument for Adams to be innocent, which is what we would very much like our elected official to be, right? This one lady gets up there, and she's been the loudest against the other protests. She's like, shut up, let him speak, blah, 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 right? And so it's her turn to speak. And then she gets up there, and she's like, good morning, New York! Like, she's just trying to shout everybody down. She's like, I've known Eric Adams for 40 years! And she's just screaming, right? And he is completely... And then the mic starts going out. Completely... And another thing... And he's not corrupt with it. Thank you. And then the dude went up there, and I don't really know what his position was. I don't know. He might have just been a black dude Eric Adams pulled that day, because this guy gets up there and he goes, good morning, New York. Good morning, New York. I've known Eric Adams for years, and he is, for 64 years, he has loved and served New York, and we cannot throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. He is 64. And I was like, where's the logic going here? You want that dude to be innocent because he's 64? Like, is that... There's no way he served 64. He just is alive for 64 years. But this dude was slick with it. He was like, do not throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. Nobody gonna kill him. Like, what are you talking about? Throwing away 64, we're not dating him. He got indicted. Do not throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. He is 64, thank you. I feel like that's the only dude that Eric Adams was like, probably should have let that be a tweet. And then it's Eric Adams' turn, right? And then counter-protesters are yelling. They're like, you're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to black people. You are an absolute embarrassment to the city. okay? You trying to make it a black thing. It's not a black thing. It's a you thing. You're corrupt. You're corrupt by yourself. It's not a black thing. It's a you thing, right? This dude's screaming. And he's like, why is anything you're saying different from Trump? You talking about you stand in the way. Stand in the way of what? You corrupt by yourself, right? And then Eric Adams like, and then he starts taking questions, right? And some of the questions were, you said that as soon as you stood up for New Yorkers, you would become a target. Who do you think you're a target of? Like Homeland Security, or what? There are government bodies that are serving you this indictment. Who do you think is targeting you and why? And then he was like, that's a question for the federal government. And I was like, okay, not a great start. And then he goes, let me just get something clear right now. All right? And then the mic cuts out completely. It's like, I just want to say to y'all, that's all I gotta say. It was incredible, Incredible. I don't know. I would love to see Eric Adams go to Rikers. I mean, particularly because of the terrible job he's done with Rikers. Just so you know, Rikers is a horrific place. It's been compared to Guantanamo Bay. Mainly because most of the people in Rikers, around 85%, have not been convicted of a crime. They just cannot afford to get off Rikers. They can't afford to pay bail and stuff like that. But they sit there until the trial. And the trial is sometimes 8 months away, 9 months away. So they're potentially innocent people just sitting there, rotting in a jail in terrible conditions because they just didn't have money. Any one of us could not have money. Most of us don't have enough money for the things we would like. So that's how close we are to being them. And it's so bad that there's a federal monitor that's like over Rikers. And Eric Adams has worked with Rikers to subvert everything that would have them comply with the federal monitor, right? It's horrific. And all they've really done is like try to throw money and staffing at the problem, but then money and staffing have become the problem because now Rikers is such a cushy job that there are a lot of people who don't show up for work. So now they really are wasting money because they'll be understaffed on a day where everyone is scheduled and then everyone calls in sick. And then people die at Rikers. People die every year at Rikers. It's absolutely insane. And the staffing, if I'm correct, maybe I'm wrong, right? But last time I looked it up, the staffing was like 2 to 1. Right. No jail has 2 to 1. Right. No jail anywhere has 2 to 1, And so what a poetic thing it would be, for the guy that a year ago gave the key to the city to Diddy. To also be like indicted and charged and sitting in Rikers. It'd be dope to see Eric Adams at Rikers. They just, he gets there and they're like, what's up, buddy? Let's talk. And so many people have resigned too. So many people have resigned from Eric Adams' administration that I don't know who works at New York anymore. It's a lot of people. People nobody was talking to, by the way. Like people who just are like, I'm just in charge of the library, but I'm gonna go because the block is hot. I don't want these problems.
First time you've counted along, it threw me off.
My bad.
That's okay. I just almost forgot how to count for a second because you were also counting.
Welcome to the Josh Johnson Show. I'm Josh Johnson, joined by my co-host, fellow stand-up comedian Logan Nielsen. Logan, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm still here. We're doing all right. What's up, man? How are you?
Okay.
No, yeah. I was just telling you about it. Every little tech thing I had to do today was just me being like, "Oh no, it's broke. Oh, it's just not plugged in." Okay, so it's like I know it's not the machine's problem. It's a lot of just my mental state, I guess. I'm just tired. And then right before we started recording to sync up, I count to 3 and we clap, and then you did it at the same time, which made me forget how to count. So, doing great. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah. Do you ever have that though, where you ask somebody something, you ask somebody how their day is going, and they really level with you immediately, or they're just
God,
like,
yes.
"Oh yeah, she left." Yeah, I mean, like,
yes, I have several friends who are like that. Where they're just like, "Well, life's terrible, but here we are." I'm like, "Okay, you can't just say fine."
I don't even
just
say terrible. I don't even get into it with people to the point where I'm like, "Oh, life's not good" or something. I'm literally just like, we'll tell you what's going on with the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't mind that so much, but yeah, I know people who will just drop like their entire mental illness on you in that one moment, and it's like, come on, man.
At least give me half.
Yeah, I'm just asking to ask. Yeah, at least.
But no.
Give me half.
That's your mistake though. Because I will tell you right now, if there's someone who, as nice as I am and as open as I am, as much as I talk to people who sometimes don't want to be talked to, if I see someone where I get the vibe immediately that they are actually a monster, I steer clear. There have been few instances where you've even seen me and I'm like, I cannot engage with this person. This person is the worst.
And now this is because this is another one of those situations where you're sounding like me. So what are your tip-offs to when it's like, oh, this is a monster, I got to get out of here? What are those I guess signifiers to you?
Okay. Did I ever tell you about when my friend was trying out for that Broadway show?
I don't know.
Okay, so
this sounds familiar.
I'm not going to say his name just in case he doesn't like the story.
Rodney.
Even though he didn't do anything in the story, he was just a witness. But basically, my friend was in line for an open call for a Broadway show, right? And so open call means it's going to be a long line.
We talked about this, didn't we?
I thought we did.
I think we did talk about this.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the type of person I would steer clear from.
Because what did you do exactly? Give the short version.
Okay, so the short version is...
He wanted to talk about everything, right?
Huh?
Oh, that's... Never mind. I remembered the story because it was him just being like his whole career, right? His whole journey.
Yeah. Should I just give a brief overview? Because now, in case someone's never listened to the show before, now we sound crazy.
That's true. Now we are monsters in a line, forcing people to hear our half stories. That's a fair point. And I did that. I'll take the blame for that one.
So basically, to make a long story short, especially if you've heard before, my friend was in an open call, and then there was someone that was behind him in line, and they just kept doing this thing that people do when they want you to talk to them, where they were like, yep. Whoo, yep. And then he just didn't want to engage because those people that do that are like, they haven't built up the skills to just talk to you. So they're trying to talk to you without talking to you, so that they lose nothing if you ignore them, but they gain something if you pay attention to them.
Well, it's because they want to talk at you. They're not interested in having a conversation with you. That's the main difference. They want you to go, "What's up, dude?" And then you can go blah.
And by the way, I'm not saying anyone who has an outburst, because life is life. We're going to have outbursts. I'm not talking about anyone who's ever had an outburst. I'm saying someone who specifically fields the room for like, yep, and then just tries to make eye contact with somebody to see if they'll, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, he keeps going, yep, finally my friend, because he's in an hours long line. And so finally he turns around, he's like, oh, what's going on? And the next thing the guy says is, yep, I had to suck a lot of dicks to get where I am today.
Yeah, that's right.
And my friend was like, wow, whoa.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't suck any, and I'm literally in line in front of you. You know?
I think I'd just be like, name all the dicks right now.
Because what's a lot?
Yeah, I want to know.
But that type of person is someone who I avoid. And then someone who's also, okay, one time when I worked at Trader Joe's, this is so wild, because I also avoid people who are openly angry in a way that is, it's one thing if I watch something happen to them and they're angry, right? So like if I watch someone get kicked out of a place or something and they're angry about it, I know why you're angry, I think. So now if you happen to look at me or engage with me, I can talk to you, right?
Right, yeah.
When I have no idea what you're upset about and I don't know you, I also steer clear. Because one time, back when I was working,
you're a potential threat to my day now.
Yeah, because I was working at Trader Joe's, right?
Yeah.
And this is the Trader Joe's in New York. So I'd been in New York for like maybe 3 months. So I just moved here, right? This guy is in the fresh produce area, but I call it the fruit aisle just to like keep it clear, right?
Right.
So he was pulling one of the plastic bags that you pull when you want to put a bunch of apples in it or just a bunch of the loose fruits together. He was pulling one of those, and the little seam that's supposed to catch the clip to break, it must have missed, so he pulled way too much, right?
Okay.
This is where
we've all been there. This is very common thing.
Yeah, this is where things go off the rails. So then, because like
everything I've said up till now, normal.
Yeah, like you've said, this happens to everybody, right?
Happens to everybody. It's very common.
This dude pulls.
Happened to me the other day.
The rest of his arm comes down from him pulling, and he loses his mind. Okay.
Oh.
This dude
just got fired.
Yeah. This
like
dude,
something happened before the store.
It was to the point where I was wondering if he worked at Trader Joe's and then got fired the day before, and I just never met him. That's how mad he got. So he pulls it, right?
Yeah.
As he's pulling, his arm goes down the rest of the way. So now he's got like 9 bags that he's pulled. Okay. And
he's like, I don't want this many lemons.
And then he drops the end one and then just tries again and then pulls another bunch instead of just breaking the one that he had in his hand. But now,
how is that the solution?
I have no idea, but you don't think clearly when you're angry because he's visibly angry now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so then he pulls again, and now there's like at least 20 bags that have been pulled out of this roll. And there's bags that are like, there's bags that are like on the floor now, all still connected, like a whole roll of toilet paper unrolled, right? Yeah. And so it's just these green bags. And so now instead of trying to pull again or break any of them, he just punches an orange. Okay? This dude punches an orange. And I think that once you break the seal on your personal level of anger, I thought
you were going to say on an orange.
No. Yeah, when you break the seal on an orange, all hell breaks loose.
There's no turning back.
Once you break the seal on, just your level of anger, I think a lot of people, that's where you find out who someone is, because I think a lot of people, either decide, hey, this is where I should check myself, or I'm too far gone and I'm just going to hit the gas.
Yeah.
In a fight, in an argument, there's a level, there's a ceiling that people have. And once you go past that, that's who you find out who's like, quote unquote, crazy, who you find out is like a fighter, who you find out is a crier, like all that stuff. Because that's the moment where you realize you're angry and you either start to see red or you start to calm down, right?
Well, yeah, the emotion takes over and you're in like a free fall now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this dude punches the orange, and I think for him, clearly punching oranges is cracking the ceiling. Cause then this dude still with the green bag string in his hand, the strip of green bags, just keeps punching oranges, right? And so then he starts screaming. He's like, oh, like, and it's not a scream that's like to get attention. It's a guttural low scream, right? Like he's essentially just being like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Punching
the noise of a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Punching oranges, orange juice going, right? Like this dude is getting orange juice all over his face. And I've never been so scared of orange juice because it, like, he had just enough of it on his face to look like blood. Like,
right.
Like you knew if he had been punching a person, his face would just be covered, right?
Yeah.
And then
I want a glass of fresh punched orange juice, please.
And then so he must have punched like 8 oranges, right? And they're layered on the on these like little cabinets because the display is wooden. So it's not like he's punching a stack of oranges like you'd see at Walmart that are tilted. He's punching like a stack of oranges that are on this wooden cabinet, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why he's making so much juice, is because there's nowhere for the oranges to go.
There's no escape for these oranges.
There's no escape for these oranges. So anyway, after he punches the 8th orange, he tries to storm off. And as he's like turning around, in his punching, he's just got the bags wrapped around his arm. Oh. So now he tries to walk away and he's just pulling more rolled bags like toilet paper.
Oh no.
And that dude walked out of the store with like maybe 100 bags trailing him.
That's all you can do, I think. You can't finish shopping. You can't just...
That dude left sticky.
Yeah. I was going to say, now he's sticky and covered in plastic. But yeah, you can't do that and then just look down at your list, cross off oranges, and then move on to the next thing.
It'd be so funny if he didn't want oranges. He just want plums. But then... bow, 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 bow.
Like... And I get it too. When you're angry, you don't think clearly. You just get frustrated. But like, just tear the bags, dude. Like, just at any point, tear the bags. Even if you got a couple, and I know you don't need a couple, but don't just keep pulling. Where's he thinking? Like, oh, this is just one really long bag. Like, what did he think was happening?
I would have loved to have a conversation with him or be in his head because... I
mean, be in his head. You don't want to talk to him.
Because, well, no, just later in life. Like today. This was years ago. So I think I could talk about... I think maybe he's over it by now, right? Yeah. And I'd love to like... Because you know how...
Or he's still serving time for it.
Yeah, I'd hate to be the person who ran into him on the street and just be like, hey, buddy, are you all right? And he just starts swinging. Right? You can't tell why his punches are so tasty, you know?
Why are your fists so sweet?
Yeah, this dude assault is delicious. He'd have beat the hell out of you and you're like, what was a little hint of Florida.
Such citrusy violence. I can tell I'm being hurt, but I think I'm also getting vitamins.
Yeah. At least this dude smells good, right?
Yeah, he punched a cold right out of me.
Emergency be damned. And so I just wonder if in his head, because you know how sometimes when you're mad about something, and especially if you spiral, right? Like I've had conversations with friends and family who get upset about something and they just start listing what else they're upset about as if the two things have anything to do with each other, right? Mm-hmm. And I would love if in the middle, like he had a breakup and in the middle of his head, he was just like thinking and like trying to get a plum or an orange or, you know, whatever he needed. And then he pulled and they were all connected. They didn't tear for him. And he was like, she's up to it again. She's up to it again. He tries to pull again. And then he just starts swinging at oranges.
Yeah. I mean, because, you know, I haven't been to that level, but, you know, I've had my times of going through rough times. And it's one thing, and it's always an insignificant thing that will just break you, and then it does just become everything in your head of like, and then this, and then also this, and there's nothing you can do. And so sometimes you gotta punch some fruit. You just gotta wreak havoc in a produce aisle. So I get it. I get where he's coming from. I've never done that specifically.
Yeah,
but what a tantrum to have. Because did anyone stop him, like even on the way out, or everyone was just like, just let him go? You never know.
Yeah,
sometimes,
No, I'm with
sometimes
you.
security, like, I'll get involved in this. You know.
Yeah, I'll tell you in a second. But no one stopped him.
Okay.
Because it was also such a. What's that movie with that guy that just goes on a shooting spree? Suburban guy. It's like a classic.
Oh, Falling Down, the Michael Douglas movie, Falling Down.
It might be Falling Down, but it was A Something Man. It was A Something Man.
A Something Man.
Trying to think of who it was.
When was it? Yeah.
It was like a 90s movie.
A Desperate Man, or I don't know.
Maybe a Desperate Man. Anyway, he just had the
that's the title I
vibes.
just made up, I think.
He had the vibes of if you spoke to him. First of all, he had the vibes of someone who was coming back, and if you spoke to him, he would remember. That's why nobody stopped him.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I said that and then realized I forgot, like, store security in New York is a lot different than around here.
Yeah.
Where, like, store security in New York is like they are just trying to get through their day.
Yeah.
Whereas around here, a lot of store security kind of act like they're cops.
Yeah,
it's like,
I could see that.
All right.
Especially if you have to deal with very little at a time. I could see you, just for the sake of your own sanity, trying to involve yourself or trying to
absolutely. I remember when I worked at Target in college, and there was a couple of young security guys, and every now and then they'd like pull me off a register to go tail somebody, like just to see if they're gonna steal some chips. Like it was. But then they were never actually good at stopping like the real people trying to actually like steal money from the store. They were never good at that, but they'd want you to go follow somebody around.
So one of my favorite, this was leading into the thing I was saying. I'll tell you in a second. I have loved the security at almost every job that I've had because, especially in New York, security, like you said, they're just trying to get through their day. So they really don't even step in unless you are actively being stabbed.
God, no.
Right? And even then, they're trying to sneak up on the person because they don't get adequately equipped to handle what's happening.
No.
Right?
Not at all. They want to get through their day, have to write a few things down that they're supposed to write down, and then leave.
And so
they don't have these Paul Blart dreams.
Yeah, like this is my thing. Okay. One of my favorites was when I was in Chicago, and remember I worked at the other grocery store, right? And
we're calling it the other grocery store now.
You know, I feel like if I name one per episode, it's not as bad.
Oh, you just don't like saying them both?
I don't like saying them both because they're under the same umbrella.
Wait, are they owned by the same like parent company?
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So now I know that Trader Joe's and a mystery grocery store are owned by the same parent company.
Anyway, when I worked there was this one time. This shouldn't be as funny to me as it is. So,
That could be the name of this fucking show.
yeah, listeners, forgive me now. But there was a guy that was in the store wilding, right? Like truly wilding out. And as this dude was freaking out, somebody started screaming, like one of the customers started screaming, "Hey, go do something," because this dude is like, I don't even know how to describe it. He was truly just like freaking out. He wasn't even stealing because he was still in the store.
Right.
It's not stealing till you leave. And basically he starts like popping off, screaming at people, running around, everything, right? And the security, that the company that we worked with was a company that clearly must have just had some overall contract, because at every store it was the same uniform, right? And
well, they were a costume shop that had to pivot.
yeah, there we go. Because
no one's renting our uniforms anymore.
Everybody that they sent except for everybody that they sent except for one guy couldn't fight and looked like they couldn't fight, right? Mm-hmm. And so there was this woman who was clearly like in her 60s, and she was a little frail as well. And she was
working security
for the grocery store, right? And so,
I'm not saying that 6-year-old women aren't strong, but they shouldn't have to do that.
They shouldn't have to be strong.
They shouldn't have to be strong for security.
For security, come on.
Yeah.
So then, basically, this dude's wilding out, and then and then it got to a point where customers were yelling at us and the security, like, "Hey, do something!" Like. Because it's like this person is clearly they're not even like having necessarily a violent outburst, but they are running around and screaming and like swinging. So they're not trying to hit anyone, but they're just like, they're not with us right now, right?
Yeah,
is the best way to put it.
They're fighting a war in Narnia.
Yeah, and so
they're not here.
And so then everyone was screaming for this person to do something, right? Mm-hmm. And so she like that's the moment. And it's funny because every single one of these guards that I worked with had a moment where I made eye contact with them and could tell they didn't want to be security anymore. Like. Dude, straight up, like everyone that I'm about to describe to you, even the dude that could fight, I'm telling you right now, I've looked in their eyes while the thing was happening. And then when we made eye contact, they were like, I could have been doing anything else right now. And so then I
should have stuck to painting.
So then she gets off of, I think she might have been sitting on the counter or something, and then she like goes to run to, I guess, do something about this, right? And I don't even know, like, I don't even know if they gave them anything. I don't think they had anything. I don't think they had pepper spray. They may have had a flashlight. Like, I really don't think they had anything on them to like.
I think they usually just give them a walkie-talkie. I think is usually what.
And so she goes to run, and as she goes to run, she steps on her own shoelaces, right? And so she stepped on her own shoelace. She fell, and she fell sideways. And so I know she hurt her hip, right?
Of course.
And so now we're at a stalemate because it's like you as an employee aren't supposed to do anything. That's why they hired the security. And in certain situations, especially if it calls for violence, you could get fired even if you were in the right.
Yeah.
And so now I'm really between a rock and a hard place because any minute, this dude's going to be over here. And in my head, I'm like, I know he's going to come to my register, right? I had already played out the scenario in my head. This dude was going to come to my register and he was going to slap me in my face. Right?
You're the magnet for this stuff. Of course.
And so I'm like,
it's going to happen.
And so I'm like, oh no, I'm really going to get hurt. Like, Like, bro, I was really sitting there like, man, this is gonna like he probably gonna rear back too. Like,
Yeah, that is pretty demeaning to be sitting behind a cash register just thinking, I'm about to get my ass kicked.
and the worst part is I knew this dude was he was too out of it to actually rob me. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm rigging people up as well because people are running to the register, clearly just trying to get out as fast as they can. So I'm rigging people up fast. Like I was already a fast cashier.
Yeah.
But I'm going extra fast. Like I'm not even sure if everything's scanned. I'm just sliding stuff over. And so, because also in my head, I was like, if we can get everybody out of the store, this problem might like solve itself. I don't know why I thought that, but I just thought like, okay, this person is clearly lashing out around a bunch of people, but if there's not a bunch of people, maybe he'll calm down or something, right?
Yeah.
So I'm bringing people up as fast as I can. And then there's even, once again, like I said, shouldn't be as funny to me as it is. But she's still on the ground. So no one's actually like helped her up yet. And then there's a guy who walks in, just a regular customer, walks in, sees her on the ground, sees us like ringing people up as fast as we can. And then I like look over my shoulder at him and he just turned around and walked out.
Oh, yeah, because that looks like a robbery.
Yeah. It's 18 people that only want to rob for food.
Yep.
They knock down the security guard and they're paying with credit.
Yeah, a weirdly violent but also cordial mob.
Yeah.
Is coming through here.
And so I'm scanning as fast as I can. And then and this dude, I can hear him getting closer and I don't know what aisle he's on, right? Like I don't know if he's 2 aisles down and he's really loud or if he's 1 aisle down and less loud. But like I can't see him, but I can hear him. And so did I already tell you about this, by the way?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember this one.
And so then I'm like, I look over. That's how I know she's still on the ground. Because at first I thought I heard her fall, but I was too scared to like look behind me. I just started ringing people up fast, like. And then I turn my head and I see that she's falling, and she's like, she says, "Help me," and I'm like, "Oh no, we're doomed! Like we're actually doomed right now."
That's your security. Your security fell down and she can't get up.
And so then I'm ringing people up. I finish a transaction and I'm like looking at the customer, I'm looking at her, and then I jump up and I like help her up, and it's like definitely nothing heroic. I'm literally just helping her get back to her feet. I'm not like picking her up or anything.
No. And you're helping her up to throw her to the lions too.
Hey, you got to do what you do to live, you know?
You got the badge, lady. That's on you.
And so then I run back over to the register. There's only one more customer. I close my gate as if that's going to do anything. Like, you know,
like he'll get there and be like, "Oh, okay."
You know the little gate they give you at the register?
Yeah.
So I close my little gate. And I put the closed divider on.
And then if I stand real still, he won't see me.
Yeah. If nothing beeps, he won't move, right? And now I can hear a couple things falling, so I know he's getting close, right? And then this dude finally gets to the registers in general. Luckily, doesn't come near mine at all. Runs like knocks a bunch of people out of the way to run past them as they're checking out. Mm-hmm. Runs past the security guard. Does a cartwheel and is out.
Hold on. Okay, sorry. Did you say he did a cartwheel and then he left?
Yeah, this dude did a cart. So he was already pushing people out of the way to run out of the store, and then he did a cartwheel and then he left.
Like my brain needed a second. Because honestly, once you said cartwheel, the whole sentence like fell apart in my brain. I'm like, there's no way he said he did a cartwheel and left.
Dude, bro, when I tell you that this lady busted her hip for nothing.
Well, sounds like she didn't stand a chance anyway. He was going to be flipping around her or something.
Yeah.
This man is trained.
This dude did like a truly insane cartwheel.
Yeah.
And by the way, when he was like running past us screaming, he was not making sense.
No.
Like he was like hobble, 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 whatever, right? But then
cartwheel is a powerful exit.
Yeah.
Because it not only does it take some skill and athleticism, but it's so counter to what he was doing.
I mean, is it though? He was running around apparently swinging his arms.
But to see all that and then to see him do a cartwheel on the way out would just make me go like, huh. Like it goes from like, oh no, what's gonna happen, to be like, well, now that was interesting. It's a weird reset, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
It erases some of the crazy from before.
Yeah.
And that's the power of gymnastics, everybody. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it was wild.
More people need to cartwheel after robbing places.
I don't think he took anything.
No, he did. He clearly didn't.
Yeah. He did some damage. He definitely stole
fucked up some cereal.
Yeah, he definitely stole some time from the company because I was sweeping up knockoff Cheerios. But yeah.
That's great.
There was one dude that I made friends with that worked security there, and he would tell me he would actually, this was great. If I was closing, he was the best dude to have on the shift because he had figured out some sort of like loophole in his whole system of like, okay, this is what they would do. He had a whole system of like how he was effectively doing security. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he found so many loopholes in his own company manual because the dude was smart. And he was like, you can't have, it said something specific in their manual because they were talking about headphones and earbuds. They were like, you can't have both ears covered. You can't sit. You have to stand. You have to like all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And this dude found a hack around all of it. That dude would have a Bluetooth on because it only covered one ear.
Right. That's what I was thinking. That's the hack for that one.
So he'd listen to a Bluetooth or he'd take phone calls and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. At one time I asked him if he was going to get in trouble for taking phone calls during his shift. And he was like, no, because then the people like I guess we don't notice because we're in the store working and you can be in, I think they call them vestibules. But basically there were the sliding doors before you enter a place and then the sliding doors when you enter, right?
Yeah.
So he would sometimes hang out in the middle.
The store foyer.
Yeah, like the sort of store foyer.
The store-yer.
Oh, God. Okay. So then
I was happy with that one, but all right.
So then he
I like store-yer.
And so basically he would hang out there. So then we never saw him on his Bluetooth. And he was like, if the people walking in see me on it, they just think I'm crazy, which would be even more incentive for them to not pull anything, right? Because he would always like he would always stand with his Bluetooth side covered. And so he's like, hey, if I'm having a spirited debate with one of my friends and I look a little crazy, that's better for me, you know?
People are going to want me less.
Yeah. And this dude was so funny. And he would tell me the stories of like working at, that security job because they would get assignments for which stores they were going to and all that stuff. And this dude was telling me about other security guards who had quit. And he told me that he was like splitting time between our store and another store. Mm-hmm. And so he had made friends with some of the security that also worked that store. And one day this dude, Steven, right? He had made friends with Steven. Steven had been working there for more than a week, okay?
I was about to be Steven Wright. I love that guy.
Wow.
Just having fun podcasting with my friend. don't know why you get so upset with me for just having a good time with my buddy Josh, but
So basically, he had made friends with Steven. And then he came in one day and was like, man, I haven't seen Steven in a while. And they were like, oh, yeah, he quit. And he was asking, like, oh, did he get in like a huff over his paycheck or whatever? Because it's like he seemed to have quit abruptly. And then he said that his boss was telling him that Steve was working a store and mid-robbery, he quit.
Mid-robbery?
Yeah, so that they were getting robbed, right? And I don't know if the people hadn't seen him yet. I don't know what happened, but he was like, he walked off the job while the place was being robbed. When they needed security the most, he was like, not me.
Like getting robbed at gunpoint?
I don't know. They just said robbed.
Oh, God,
Isn't that wild? That dude, in the middle of a robbery, he was like, I don't have to be security. Like, I could do something else with my life.
This ain't a real badge.
Hey, I'm just a dude in a sweater. All right.
Yeah. Wow.
Look, if you shoot me, you be shooting a customer. Okay.
But honestly, in that situation, I think that's the best time to quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what are you going to do?
Y'all didn't give me a gun.
You didn't give me a gun. I just needed a job, and you needed someone to be here saying their security. Most of the training you tell us is to not actually get involved, but to just call the police.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robbery's the perfect time to say, oh, okay. There's really nothing for me to do here.
Yeah. And so that dude quit. My concern with quitting mid-robbery is that people are going to think I was in on it. Like,
oh, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that angle. Yeah,
but everyone
looks at the footage, and the second it starts, you leave. They're gonna be like, "Well, now that seems like an inside man."
But clearly not. He's an outside man. As soon as somebody pulled a gun, that dude was gone. Oh man, I think that's probably what cleared him. Is that it was like, oh yeah, he clearly left in fear.
He ran so far away from the store.
Yeah, you catch him on another security camera a mile away, just breathing heavy, holding his back because he heard it.
Yeah, the footage in the store is him turning around and being startled and going, oh, and then running out. And they're like, yeah, he didn't help.
Oh man! And then there was one dude who was kind of like the guys you're describing, where he started working there and he was hella gung ho. And my buddy that I worked with, the security guard I worked with, that was telling me all these stories, was like, this dude. He told me this when the dude started. He was like, this dude gonna get himself shot.
No, that's the energy those guys have. Like, oh, you're gonna stick your nose into something you just shouldn't.
And so then this dude was running, right? Was running after a guy, but still in the store. So he hadn't chased him out of the store, right? Yeah. And the guy was trying to put stuff in his jacket and then run. And so he ran at that dude and they collided and they both got hurt. Like,
yeah.
Because he went to tackle him and I think he thought he was going to have like a true football sack, right? Like, I think he thought he was going to lay this dude out. But clearly he didn't get the angle right, because then they both really just leaned into each other and tackled each other.
Yeah. He thought he was going to do like a cool, like, you know, like Lethal Weapon, like hip toss as he's running by, you know, catch him, have him pinned down. You're under arrest, punk. But instead he was just in the way.
Yeah. Instead, he needed time off because that dude hurt his collarbone.
Man, you hope that at least get you a raise or a bonus for getting hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently it was a bad tackle, because whenever stuff like this happens, at least this is what he was saying, when stuff like that happens, they pull the footage. And so he's like, I love when something happens at somebody else's shift, because it's just me. It's like me watching a version of Cops. right?
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
so
you gotta
and so he said
pass that around at the holiday party.
in the tackle as they were coming at each other, you can tell the angle is gonna be bad because because the security guard was going to, like, you know how in wrestling and all that stuff is like you're trying to break their center of gravity and everything?
Yeah.
But that dude was already leaning forward. So he's going to try to grab thighs or a knee that he doesn't need to grab because the dude's already leaning forward because he's not paying attention and he's running so fast he's leaning forward as he's running, right?
Yeah.
And so then that guy goes, like, as he's going in, you can see the point of contact where he went from trying to tackle somebody to somebody who was actively getting knocked out. Like,
Yep.
because they came in at an angle on each other and they both never got up. Like,
Well, then he stopped the robbery.
he stopped the robbery and there's just Skittles everywhere. Because it wasn't like the dude was running out with a fistful of cash. He had, like, he was grabbing a bunch of candy and then trying to run. And this dude, bow.
Oh, that's all it was too, was just candy and sprinting out the door?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't gotta tackle anybody for that.
Yeah.
Just mark the footage. Call the cops. Don't break your clavicle for some fucking Rolos.
This dude got floored.
That's great. Yeah, I've never seen like a full on security altercation like that, because all the ones I've seen are usually either like the buzzer goes off and security walks up, they're like, nah, you're good. Or something's going down and security does not want to be a part of it.
There was one where this is like, all right, we may have to cut this. This may actually not be funny. But but apparently there was one that was...
It ends in 7 deaths.
There was one where he said this guy rolled up to the store that his friend was working and just walked up to his friend and was like, hey, do you remember me? And then just immediately start whooping his ass, right? So there's no backstory, there's no context, anything. But he said he saw it because he was that dude's shift change, right? So then the security guards get a break, like we would get a break. But then that dude, his shift change was showing up, and his shift change was showing up. Obviously, like he's not gonna take his lunch right before. And so he said he walked in, and as he walked in was that dude trying to get away. So like as he walked in, this guy is being held from the back of his shirt by the guy who walked in and was like, do you remember me? So he said when the doors opened and he was going into the store, he just saw his friend going, ah! Like,
And the friend was a security guard too?
the friend was a security guard too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that make it hard to go back to that store when you just see the security guards getting dragged back in the store to get beat up.
Yeah.
More. That
dude walked
That's not
into
a
the
safe
store,
place.
walked up to the security guard and was like, do you remember me? And then just started swinging.
Imagine walking up to a grocery store, and as you're getting like right up to the front doors, they open and a security guard falls out and it goes, no, and gets dragged back in.
Imagine you going to a grocery store and knowing you don't want any apples, you don't want any oranges, you don't want any frozen foods. The only thing on your shopping list is revenge. You roll up in the store, you're like, somebody gonna get it today. I know his shift. I know when he gets off. Because that's the other thing, too. That's the other thing that went into the planning. That person knew when he got off.
Yeah.
So he knew if I don't catch him in the store, I'm going to catch him coming out the store.
Wow. And I know this isn't the case because we've covered that. These are different stores. I do like to then think of all of this happening in one just incredibly violent Trader Joe's. Just you walk in and there's people fighting, security guards on the ground. There's a guy just punching oranges.
No, I don't even think we had a security guard at the Trader Joe's that I went to.
Well, but clearly not. No one was protecting those oranges.
Yeah. No, there was a security
was
at the Trader Joe's in New York. I don't think the Chicago one had one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen security at Trader Joe's.
But the other grocery store had shifts of security.
The other grocery store, which will remain nameless for confusing reasons.
It is weird that I'm not.
We have people name check it in emails to us.
Yeah. I've mentioned it in other episodes. But yeah, there's just something about both of them makes me feel like I'm divulging too much. Because I've technically said I won't share company secrets for 2 companies now. And all I've done on this podcast is talk about my experience at both.
Well, is that company secrets? I mean, that's technically the public, I'd say.
I don't know. I don't know what they'll be upset about. So...
A SWAT team in Hawaiian shirts is going to burst into your apartment. You're giving away company secrets.
Oh, man.
What?
Oh, no. Just last little one. The guy that I told you about that could fight. I got to see him fight one time, and that shit was fire. Okay, so
was it at a grocery store?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So then
I was gonna be in either way, but even funnier.
So then there was a guy that charged at him. I don't know if he had anything like on him, but this dude charged at him, and he just stuck his foot up, and 300. This is Sparta. That guy. This dude charged at him, and he kicked that dude so hard, and when the dude fell, the only noise that dude was making, he went. Wait, I'm trying to do it without laughing. He went. He went. Because he got the wind knocked out of him, and then he hit the ground. And he just sat there for a second. So he was even making the noise when he sat back up. Because of course he made the noise on impact, but then he sat up, and while he was catching his breath, he was like, "Ugh."
That's the best too, though, when someone who you know knows how to fight still does a very unpredictable move.
Yeah. Because he didn't try
to go for that.
He didn't even try to stop him. He literally was like, "You could have some foot."
Yeah.
When I tell you that it wasn't even a kick, he stopped him like the ground was actually a wall. Like he stopped that dude like his foot was supposed to go there.
Yeah, he full on like Undertaker big booted him.
Yeah,
just put the foot up and stopped him. And that's not supposed to work in real life.
And you know that there's at least a millisecond where he's reared back, but he's like, because I'm not a fighter, but I'm just saying that this is probably what was going through that person's mind. You're charging at someone, and then you see them take a slight stance on you. So you think maybe they're going to punch, maybe they're going to whatever. So you really dig your heels into running at them harder. And then you see their hips sort of switch. And then as their hips are switching, their foot comes up. There has to be at least a millisecond right before you get kicked where you realize you're going to get kicked and you can't stop yourself from running into the foot.
Oh, for sure. I out in the world, you're rarely expecting kick to the chest to be move one.
Yeah.
You know, you're not expecting that. And yeah, momentum wise, you just have to knowingly get kicked at a point.
It was wild.
That's great.
I loved it. I was like, man.
No, that'd be the shit. Are you kidding me?
I was smiling. I was like, that made my whole day. I remember somebody being rude after that, and I was just like, hey, don't make me call my boy. Like, you just saw a random dude get kicked in the chest. I don't know if this is where you want to be giving lip.
I'm all fired and ready to this is Sparta everyone in here.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, hey, man, you want to open up the mailbag?
Yeah.
So, are you ready for the latest update to the foot fetish date scenario?
Yes, please.
Okay, so quick recap previously on the Josh Johnson Show mailbag. But we've had 2 updates from Anna, who went on a date with someone who was so in defeat that he tried to slink down out of his chair to take her shoe off, and then I believe smelled the shoe. And people noticed, and then I believe the follow-up update was that he tripped somebody, or I can't remember exactly what happened, but she ended up going on the date with the server from that, because she likes every email ends with Anna just saying like, oh, and then here's another new crazy story.
Yeah.
In a sentence, and that won't haunt you.
Mm-hmm.
So the last update was, oh, I went on a date with the server who helped me out in that foot fetish date. And so we said, we got to know more about that. So this is the latest update. This is from episode 99. Hey guys, the snow cone story blew me away. Hilarious and cute. Avatar blue. The positive way you guys are interacting with each other is so nice. Well, thank you. That's just nice. You guys seem to be getting along. Okay. So the story kind of splits up into 2 parallel long events. One part evolves the gentleman. Yes, he was not just going away. And the second part is regarding the server. So we're getting a follow-up on the foot fetishist and the server. In this email, I will tell you the story of the date with the server. The server and I went on a first date a week later. So I love this too. I think they're already teasing a different story.
Yeah.
Up top.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this one. Just know there's another tangent. The server and I went on a first date a week later, and we ended up having a few more until we actually addressed, quote, the elephant. Now, I'm assuming this is about the foot guy.
Yeah, the elephant in the shoe.
Hey, see, look who's getting into puns now. Come on. You had one earlier?
Yeah. You
little rascal. But eventually we got to it. That's got to be, come on. You start with that.
But that's someone who really likes you that doesn't want to mess it up by bringing up the most obvious thing too soon.
I mean, it would be great, though, if you were just like, so, your feet seem dope. That guy was all up in them. Seated at a completely different restaurant with a more relaxed atmosphere and dimmed light with window seats, the aura of calm assertiveness around this Idris Elba-looking man, yes, he was gorgeous, changes to be unsettled and eager. First off, marry him. I'm jealous. I want to be on a date with him. He's chivalrous and looks like Idris Elba. Yeah. And he says, you know you have to, right? I was glad the light was dim because I blushed. Not sure how to start. I just blurted out, well, how much did you see? He laughed and he told me the following. As the gentleman had been sliding to the floor to grab my feet, a lady in her 70s, sitting fairly close, had rushed out to get a server, telling them that that we had been, quote, sexing. Her words, not mine, and had to be taken care of. They're over there sexing. The server was curious about the sexing thing, though skeptical, but at a glance, he saw my disgusted face and the back of a gentleman as I kicked him in the forehead. That's right, she kicked him in the face. I forgot that. He he grabbed our starters and quickly headed our way. Well, he brought the appetizers. That's good. He could tell by my facial expression, the gentleman on the floor with the shoe rubbing his forehead, that there was no, quote, sexing going on, and I was too uncomfortable with this man. He decided to let me go and delayed the gentleman by kind of punishing him by stepping on his hand. He's being punished by feet. He's being punished by the thing he loves now.
Yeah.
I thanked him and apologized for the broken glasses. Well, he said, I got the money from that man, but what I didn't get was an explanation of why he was on the floor. He winked at me and continued. But the kid did, parentheses, the son of the family sitting next to me and the gentleman. But that kid said that the gentleman really liked feet so much he had to sniff her shoe. So the kid gets it. Now the server is laughing so hard that he thrust his body backwards so forcefully that the chair is tipping backward, and as it reaches the wall behind him, it slowly slides down to the floor. Anna. Instinctively, I reached out and grabbed his wrist to prevent him from going down all the way to the floor, but by doing so, I, being a small woman, was pulled across the mid-sized table and landed on my tummy. Glass and utensils flew all over as I got the wind knocked out of me by the edge of the table. All the people seated next to us burst out laughing. What to do now? Not again. I'm blushing again, feeling ridiculous, small, and somewhat having flashbacks of the date with the gentleman. The seconds it took for the nice couple next to us to take pity on us and help us get up and be seated again seemed like forever. When everybody was settled, we both felt awkward, but laughed it off and decided to continue with the date. I mean, what else can go wrong, right? And then the next picture is just a burning building, is all it says.
Turns out this guy's into hands.
At this point, a woman comes up to us, lays a hand on the server's shoulder, and leans in towards his ear and whispers something I couldn't hear. Still chuckling, he says to the woman to bring in the wine, new glasses, and whatnot. To me, he says, "Feet, huh? I'm impressed by your kick." He pauses, scratches his cheek, continues, "Are you gray?" For a couple of seconds, I was confused. Gray as in dull and boring? It dawned on me, dropping my jaw. The server thought I was a BDSM domina, it says here.
Wow. Okay.
Is that a term? I don't know that term, gray.
I don't know that term either, but I'm sure we'll learn more if we keep reading.
So are you? I couldn't make out his facial expression at all. Was he serious? The woman comes back with the wine and stuff, pours some for the server first, and accidentally, quote, spills some on my dress after pouring into my glass and leaves pretending not to notice. What the hell is going on here? The woman pissed me off, but I was not going to let her ruin my date. If anyone would, it would be me. I gulped some wine and told the server the full story as I have to you. But the outcome was not as expected. He leans forward and says, "But you commanded me to call you." I'm totally dumbfounded, and as I was going to answer him, a loud pounding on the restaurant window interrupted me. Yeah, with his nose pressed against the window, there he was, the gentleman. "I found you," he yells, and heads for the entrance of the restaurant. What the actual fuck? Take care and stay cool. I'm starting to wonder if we're getting played a little bit by Anna. I'm wondering a little bit.
That is so wild, though.
If all that is true, and also, that's another fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Which is what's making me wonder if we're getting played, because it seems a little too perfect.
I mean, I guess, no, I can see how, though, if you know the full story, how you can piecemeal it out to be like, here's some of it,
Yes.
just enough of it.
Right. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But then to keep just...
I feel like we would, like, this is my thing. If something went wrong with that guy, but then Otto went on a date with the other server, I'd be like, oh, wow, okay. But right now, we're still in a territory that I believe that all this happened.
Oh, no, I do believe it, too. It is just like, it's starting to feel like a short story collection, like from an old magazine, you know?
Hey,
it's like each week there's a new segment of it.
Yeah.
You commanded me.
But you commanded me. Wow.
Wild. Wild.
All I can say is thank you all so much for listening to the Josh Johnson Show.
That's it. We're just ending on that. That's how we're going.
Great time recording. I hope you had a great time listening. If you are looking to catch
I'm dealing
up
with
with
so
us
much right now.
on any of the socials, you can find me at Josh Johnson Comedy on Instagram,
just
TikTok,
one fetishist
YouTube,
to another in
where
a row.
We're also going to be putting, clips on YouTube, and you can also find me on at Josh Johnson. And if you're looking for Logan,
it means it was the kick that turned him on. It means he liked seeing that guy get kicked in the face. You can follow me on Instagram at Logan M. Nielsen. And if you want to get into the mailbag and just take up too much of my time connecting things with yarn on my wall, you can email us joshjohnsonshow@gmail.com. You can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We like to read those reviews on the show as well. And if you want some bonus content, like some bonus podcasts, some bonus video stuff, or not live replays, because that doesn't make sense, but replays of virtual live shows that we've done, you can go on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Josh Johnson Show. And there's a bunch of silly stuff there. Anything else we need to plug?
Richmond?
Oh, Richmond, Virginia next week. We'll both be there. Minneapolis coming up in November. Check out all the links below, wherever. If you're listening, read that. The information it gives you, it's all in there. If you're on YouTube, look where I'm pointing. Down. It's down there.
We command you.
All right.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really supports the channel. Hit the bell notification, because apparently it's the only way YouTube will tell you that something happened. And just tell a friend. That's the biggest thing you could do. Just tell one person in your life that you like, maybe you don't like, that this video happened to you.
We release the podcast every Thursday on all the podcast apps, so you should find us there and subscribe on those and comment and leave reviews and whatever on all of them. And also, if you want bonus stuff, you can join our Patreon, patreon.com/Josh Johnson Show. We have bonus podcasts and videos and stuff there, and we'd love to see you. Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I've been watching a lot of news. Which usually, it's not great. Every once in a while, something will happen that you're like, that's okay. I'll let that slide. It'll be bad news, but it's bad news that you can live with, you know? Like there's one particular squirrel that's been attacking a bunch of people, and it's really getting them. It's like the news came. You know how much a squirrel has a scratch? You know how deep it has to get to be newsworthy? The news came and interviewed all these people. So far, he's got 2 victims. Both people are he came right at me. But mostly is bad in a bigger way. Do you know what I mean? Okay, this is, I guess, what bothers me the most is who they interview as well. When you're watching the news, you end up watching a lot of rich people, but they won't have anything to do with what's happening, really. So why are you asking what he thinks? He does have money, yes, but he wasn't even there. That's weird. And then sometimes the news will be about them because they're rich and they're moving money around. And we've done a thing now where we've equated being rich with being important. Because obviously money has power, it can bring you influence. But then at a certain point, you have to just accept that, like, yes, they have money, they don't know anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I mean that from a place of like, we have equated having money with being really smart. You must be really smart if you got the money. Because you must be brilliant if you have lots of money, because it's the only way you can get money. Dude, I'm just saying, that's how they teach it. They're like, man, this guy was really smart. He had all the money. I'm sure he came about it by completely legal and ethical means, but like he has all this money, so he's probably really smart. We should just listen to him. And it's like, if that was how you got money, then yes, but it isn't. There's so many different ways to get money. Some people had an idea, they invented something, and then a lot of people were like, that's a great idea. We're glad you invented that. And then they buy so much of it that now this person is rich. Or you write a book. You write a book. You write a book and everyone likes the book, and then you put the book out and then the book is $20, but then like millions of people like it, which is millions of 20s. Even after taxes, that's still millions of 20s. So now you're rich, but you wrote a book. You don't know about anything but the book you wrote. But somehow every time we watch them in the news, we watch them in culture, we're like listening to them for an opinion that is not the thing that got them rich. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that feels crazier by the day, because crazier and crazier people keep getting rich. Do you know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. Okay, like someone like a William Randolph Hearst, right? Like someone who's like old rich, like black and white rich. Remember that? Just in the no color pictures of them rich. You know what I'm talking about? You can't find a single color picture. If there's them in color, that's AI, because they were before color. So then people who were rich before colors came out, I will extend the olive branch to them that maybe they knew more stuff because they had to know a wide range of things, and there was also less stuff to know in a way. Internet hadn't been invented yet. You could go to the library, but they had whole Dewey Decimal systems that really just sometimes slowed you down instead of helped you, because then you're like, why am I going by 3.5 instead of just tell me the title? And then they also couldn't look it up like regular, so you had to use the system. They couldn't be like, oh, it's right over there, because the computer said, because computers weren't out yet and you didn't have color. So life was harder. And so I think someone who was very well-rounded and got into business and had a bunch of different businesses could be very smart, could be someone who could answer questions outside of just their field, right? Present day, just present day is harder. It's harder to be smart about everything because everyone has access to almost everything. It also depends on how you made your money. Did you make your money from inventing something? Did you write a book? Did you start a company? And then the company was really successful. So successful, you could buy another company. And then now you have like 3 subsidiary companies under you. They're all doing well. Your big company's doing well. You're very successful. You know what to do when it comes to business. That doesn't mean you know anything about, like, I don't know, the environment. But maybe you made your money millions, maybe even a couple billion, from buying with some starter money, some funding from people. You bought like a pharmaceutical company, and this pharmaceutical company didn't really do anything, and none of the drugs really worked, but you told everybody that they did. You told everybody that they did. You told everybody in a level that kind of made you like a snake oil salesman, like, oh, it's gonna come out soon and it's gonna fix everything. And then people were like, it's gonna fix everything? That's crazy. Almost nobody ever says that, because that's pretty illegal to tell people something's gonna do something, then that's fraud. So for you to be like doing fraud on the news with your full chest, your company must really do that. And so then you get more investors, you keep doing rounds of, investing, you build up the company, and then it gets to the point where you're like ready to go public with nothing really. You don't even really have a company, and the drugs don't work. But you could either go public and then try to sell the company, or just try to sell the company outright, and then now you get to leave with the money you made from the company that somebody else bought. You scammed. You were scamming. And some people are very good at scamming. Some people are very smart scammers. Like when you watch the documentary later about their scam, you're like, wow. Wow, incredible. Good scamming. It wasn't my money. Delicious. So some people have scammed their way into millions or billions of dollars. Some people have earned it in the way that you can earn it through creating something that people in the market want. So then that builds some money up. And some people just come from money. Some people already had money, but you just didn't know who they were because like their parents had sense enough not to try to be famous. So then they passed them a whole bunch of money, and then they showed up one day and they were like, I'm money. And then it's like, oh, okay, did he make all that money to just have money out of nowhere like that? It's like, no, he's actually really rich. And then you get what we have, Like I had a friend who was talking to me about Elon and was saying he's like this like super genius. He's like this super nerd genius. And I was like, oh, what makes you say that? Like what? Like why would you say that or something like it? Like what makes you think? Like, what makes you think he's a super genius? I'm just curious, right? I wasn't even hating. I was just genuinely like, what makes you say that? And he's like, just, like Tesla and everything that he's trying to do with Mars and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, plenty of people try to go to Mars. And that's actually pretty common. I know plenty of people who smoke up on a Friday thinking they can make it to Mars. And some of them go. Some of them have been there. I have been in rooms with people so high out of their mind that you're like, you at least at Venus. There is no way. You stopped it. Okay. All right. Oh, it's trying. And trying is important. Everyone, look, if you have a dream, you should try. I want that for everybody. But trying isn't doing. He's not doing Mars. He's trying to go to Mars. He's trying to go to Mars. Also, Tesla, I'm pretty sure he bought that company, so he's smart enough to buy. He's smart enough to, like, use his money to buy something. I don't know if that makes you a super genius. So you can only equate, like, money with wisdom or being intellectual for so long before the bill sort of comes due. If you're so smart, what are you going to do with it? If the answer is just make more money, then like we don't need you. You know what I mean? And I say this because I was watching the news, and I don't even know why this was the B-roll that the news used, but it was a yacht, and I got mad. And I need to be clear here. I didn't get mad because it was like someone had a yacht and I want a yacht. I've joked about wanting a yacht. I don't want a yacht. What would I do with a yacht? Like, what would I even do? You know what I mean? I'm not mad that they had a yacht. I'm mad at the yacht. Do you know what I mean? Look, I don't care if you're rich and then you bought a yacht. I care that the yacht was dumb. This is a dumb yacht. This was, I think it was like $50 million, something like that, but it's a $50 million already. $50 million on a boat. That's like technically not a boat, it's a yacht, but it's a boat. It still does boat. It's a boat. It's a boat. You need to be in water for it to do its job. It's a boat, and a $50 million. And then the boat had a pool. The yacht had a pool. So you basically spent $50 million on a bucket. It's a bucket. It's a bucket in the water. That's crazy. That's so dumb. That's why you shouldn't have the money. It's not even for like a more. I wish I was coming to you for like a moral reason of like, I can't believe it. I can't believe someone would spend $50 million on a yacht while there are people starving in their country. I'm not even trying to appeal to you like your morality or anything. I'm saying that if you spend $50 million on a boat with a pool in it, you're in the water. You're in the water. The water's here. The water. You're surrounded by water, and you're like, no, but I don't want that water. That's why you should have nothing. Actually, that's why I hope for nothing for you, because to need a pool, you're in the water. If you fell overboard, you'd be able to swim. You want to go for a swim? Just tip over. You'll be swimming. And instead, you had a pool put on a boat. You had a pool installed on a boat. You had different water in your boat with the water surrounded. That is an I don't want to get up to get the remote level of lazy to swim. I could fall overboard and swim and maybe drown, or I could have a pool. I could have a pool and swim in that and maybe drown, and maybe and maybe you will, and maybe I hope you do. Like it's a pool on a boat. Sounds like a riddle. Why would you? Then did swimming in it. Swimming in it. Swimming in it just to get out and be like, oh, I think I'm gonna go look at the water. A yacht with an infinity pool on it. A yacht with an infinity pool. You know what else is an infinity pool? You know the original infinity pool? You know the first infinity pool? It was a pool so big, people thought there was an edge and you would fall off. That's how big the actual infinity pool was that you're in right now, but you wanted your own. And then on the yacht, this thing will be like $50 million. And then they'll give you a little tour of the yacht. I've watched a tour of a yacht before, because sometimes I hate watch things, because sometimes I have a lot of like hate in my heart, and you would think the only way to get hate out is with love, but sometimes it is with an overwhelming portion of hate. Like when you actually indulge in the hate, and then you have so much hate that it is spilling out of you, and then you look at all the hate on the floor and you're like, that was too much, let me not do that again. But for the level of hate that I had, I did watch a whole like Lifestyles of Rich and Famous type thing, let me tour my yacht, right? And so the whole time they were touring the yacht, he was showing me basically an apartment, which is kind of cool, but it's only cool because it's a yacht. If we were on land, you'd be like, oh, you're middle class. Like that's what's so insane about a yacht, is that it's like you get a tour of the yacht, and already there are things that, like, just to be on the yacht make you uncomfortable. So they'll have like 3 tiers, right? And they'll be walking around the boat, and you see even the cameraman trying to follow the rich person trying to tour the yacht. There's not enough room between the rail and the side of the first floor apartment for you to really walk. So now he's over here being like, we got this one in 2015. Cameraman's trying not to fall overboard, and then he takes you inside and he's like, here's the bed, and the bed is like, fine. It's a bed. It's a bed. A bed. It's not mind-blowing. It's not even $50 million worth of bed. It's just a bed with some floor next to it. So far my mind isn't blown. Nobody's floating. Nobody's like floating in midair and making it look like a experience worth $50 million. And then, they go up to the next level and they're like, oh, and we have a kitchen here. And it's like, the kitchen isn't a kitchen. It's like a kitchenette. Just like as someone who has lived in Brooklyn for a long time, this is my apartment. Maybe that's also why I'm upset. You put my apartment on a boat and then paid $50 million for it, and we're supposed to think that you're smart. No. No. Why? No, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's also like you're giving yourself away. You already are willing to buy a $50 million yacht while there are people struggling in every country in the world. It really doesn't matter where you're from. And I'm not even telling you what to do with your money. I'm just saying, just know that about yourself, that you're willing to buy a $50 million yacht and show it off as people are struggling in your country, whoever you are, whatever country this is. If you know, right? But then to be like, oh no, I'm just gonna be in international waters for like a kitchenette amount of time. All right, that sounds like crime. That sounds like... You kind of admitted to me that whatever you plan to do something illegal. You're like, no, I'm gonna need a lot of supplies and a kitchenette. And I don't even know why I got mad about this, but they had a shower, but the shower wasn't like a shower. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, you've been in a nice hotel room with a shower, and you've been like, oh, this is great. And you could, the shower looked a little like prison. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been to prison, but I've watched some documentaries. And the shower just like, because they were trying to make it sound like it had all these features. They were like, you know, you can get the waterfall. There's also, a spout that shoots this way. And then you have the one that's like mounted into the wall that just shoots across. And I'm like, okay. Okay, if you say so. But in the world of showers, I've taken a lot of showers in my life, right? Every day. And the shower shooting across either screams high school gym or prison. Like, it's... The shower shooting across... Just a perpendicular shower is not luxury. Floor to ceiling glass. And glass as the floor and glass as the ceiling. So you can look down. So you can look down and be like, look at all the fish. Look at all the... What a mind-breaking... Look at all the fish that are passing by. It's like an aquarium. It's like my aquarium. I guess the world is like my aquarium. It's like, no, you're in the aquarium, you idiot. You're the one. You're actually the one that's boxed in. You moron. You're the one that's in the glass. How does that appeal to you? You're the glass. Like, you're the fish. You're the fish. You are the fish. The fish are swimming by like, what is... Oh, wow, I didn't know we got a zoo. I had no idea that we had a zoo. You're the fish. That's crazy. Just for the glass. All glass. And the fish swimming by, wondering, wow, even the fish are like, this is what you do with $50 million. Okay. All right. I mean, live your life, you know. And I think that's also why I got so mad, is because it's like you bought this $50 million yacht and you're not just greedy, you wasted it. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna spend $50 million, impress me. You know, make me go, wow, yeah, that's definitely better than feeding people. See what I mean? It's $50 million. You should be able to get some dope stuff for $15 million and not just have a Brooklyn apartment on water that's shaped like a bucket. You know what I mean? It's just wasted $50 million. All right. I'll let it go. I was angry enough about it, and I just needed to let it out. But it's like, at $50 million, like, just the land. You could buy acres of land. You could own a forest. You could own a forest and everything in it. You could go to a forest that you bought with your millions of dollars and walk right up to Bambi and be like, I own you now. Like, that's... You could do that, and instead you're like, no, it's nice to almost drown in a boat. That happened one time. There was a guy who had a yacht, and he had a pool in his yacht, and I don't know if he got like caught cramp or something, but he did like drown in his pool in his yacht. And I read about that and I was like, and it's probably not a good response to have. That's not nice at all. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do what I did. But the laugh escaped. It wasn't like, I wasn't reading being like, ooh, I hope I see that. I was just reading and then it was like, oh, okay. Wow. Because it's just, it happened, I think, because we became so genuinely obsessed with money. Like, the U.S., America, we start out as a sort of land of opportunity. People would come here for a fresh start. Usually, it was like a fresh start. It wasn't actually like this land. We have like a money-hungry revisionist history of why people came here. There were people that came here because of religious persecution and for like a fresh start. Because you could get off a boat and just tell them your name was Larry and they'd be like, all right, and then they'd write it down. There was no, you know what I mean? Like I don't even know if you get that in human history ever again, to just show up and be like, no, I'm Dave. I don't even know who you're. That's how we got like murderers. Like there was a whole theory that like Jack the Ripper may have come to the US. That's how fresh of a start you could get. You could flee London after some of the most horrific crimes known to man, show up at Ellis Island and even say, yeah, I'm Jack. Like just, you could even tell them that and they'd be like, all right, good to go. Mr. Rapar? And people would do their best and people would try to build themselves up in spite of all different types of persecution, because that was a time in America where like white wasn't even white yet. That is crazy, right? White was not, if you were Irish, it was like, you're what? You know what I mean? Like it was, like I've been reading about it in history. Italian, you would be Italian, they'd be like, oh. I don't even know who was white. Looking back at it, it's like, I guess if you were British, but then if you were too British, they were like, I don't think you're loyal to this country. You the accent all thick. Just hate. Everybody was hating everybody. Everybody had to build up as best as they could that came here, especially people who came here with nothing, and then they built themselves. And look, this is where we really started to go awry, on top of already like having slavery and stuff like that. We started to build a system where as long as there was someone beneath me, I was like, I'm fine. It started to become more about who's under you than you even doing well for yourself. It's the thing you see echo today, where there are people who are not doing well, but as long as this person's doing worse, then they're fine, you know? And as you build up, as you have more and more money, as you can pass down more and more money to your kids and everything, as you can one day be so rich that you pass down the money, and then you pass away, and then your kid shows up at the news one day to be like, I'm money. Like that, like, that kind of turned into what the American dream was. It went from like land of opportunity, get a little slice of this place for yourself, really build something, be able to take care of yourself and your family, and it became like, are you rich? People wanted to be rich so bad that we looked at anybody who was rich as wise, that we need to do whatever it is they're doing to get where they are, because I want to be where they are. Never mind their sort of moral character, never mind how they treat people, or even how they got that money. They have $100 million. I want $100 million. I'll do whatever they tell me to do. The type of person that was willing to tell the masses how to get $100 million was not actually telling them that. They were like telling them how to give me $200 million. And I think it doesn't become apparent how crazy that level of wealth is always, because we're used to these people as characters, right? So like you're used to like a Zuckerberg as an idea of a person, because he is an idea of a person. You know what I mean? Like no, look, I'm saying that he is his idea of a person. Like you could. This isn't coming out right. I'm saying that he is doing a perfectly fine first impression of a person. I'm saying, I want you to hear me when I say this. I'm saying that, you know how when your 4-year-old draws you, that's what he's doing as a person. Like he is, as a person, Mark Zuckerberg is being like, hello. That's what people say, right? Hello. And so he has, over $100 billion. And I think we can fathom that money, but we can't. Even when you try to count it, even when people make charts and they're like, guys, a billionaire doesn't even fit on the chart, right? You'll still see someone who is incredibly wealthy, and they only have we know them from being rich, and they only have $500 million. Like that's how crazy it is. It's like they're halfway to 1/100th of where Zuckerberg is. I think that's why I get so frustrated when I see the news, because you're watching the news and you're watching someone like Zuckerberg be on the news, and you're like, why? What could he possibly have to say that should be on the news? And here we're clearly stations are on sides, networks are on sides, right? But no matter what side, they can't just be like, this should never happen. And that's because we let rich people buy up all the news. So now a rich person owns the news. And so even if a journalist, someone who went to school to be a journalist, and someone who would like to tell people the truth as they find it out, they would like to do what they do in France, where in France they're like, this is the news in French. And then they want to do that, but in English for us. And then someone comes up to them right before they go live on air, and they're like, oh, don't say it's bad though, just say it's happening. And so you see Zuckerberg have this huge, huge data center that's gonna decimate everything around it, and why? Like truly why? I don't think we know. We're watching these people, watching 5 companies basically prop up the S&P 500. S&P 500 is made of, I think, 500 companies. Make no mistake, without those 5 companies, the market would be correcting. It would be wherever it is supposed to be because of how the other companies are doing, which is how most companies are doing, which means it's how most of America is doing. But we've propped it up with these 5 companies. These 5 companies have gone all in on AI, and they've gone all in on AI in a way that functionally does not make sense. You look at Sam Altman, another candidate for person. You know what I mean? Like Sam Altman only looks confused when you ask him a moral question. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. Look, all right, I shouldn't even really talk about this, but it was wild. I watched Tucker Carlson interview Sam Altman, and Tucker Carlson kind of implied, he was like, hey, there was that OpenAI whistleblower who basically said that y'all were violating copyright law and stealing a bunch of information and everything, and then he died mysteriously. What do you think about that? It's weird to watch Tucker Carlson unleashed on somebody you hate. It's like when the bulldog that you've been scared of in your neighborhood your whole life finally bites your bully. You're kind of like... They seem to be canceling each other out right now. I guess if he was gonna bite anybody, it's good that it's him. And you see Sam Altman clam up. Here's the thing. I'm not saying, can I be 100% with y'all? Can I be really honest with y'all? I am not saying at all that Sam Altman had anything to do with that young man's death. I am saying I am saying that interview didn't not make it look like it though. Like that. I try my best not to judge people because sometimes I don't even know what I'm gonna react like or do next in a certain scenario, right? And I think too often what we do to people is we say, I know they did this thing because of this thing, right? But all I'm saying is when you watch the interview, here's the thing. If I didn't like someone, right? I would be like, what? What kind of accusations? What are you trying to say? What are you? He asks him, and Sam is like, better start saying words soon. One of two things needs to happen in the next millisecond. Either you need to start saying, profusely that you had nothing to do with this and everything, like you need to really stake your claim that like you had nothing to do with this and you're maybe even very upset by the line of questioning or something. Or if you are a robot, now would be a good time for your face to like open up like Men in Black style and have like a little alien be like, how dare you, right? Like that would be great. Because this, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't get caught cheating. This is asking you about murder, right? No. None of that. Just a lot of like, it was very sad and we, actually, no, I was, it's just, I don't even know how to react because I've never been accused. And then Tucker quickly goes, I'm not accusing you of anything. Get out of Tucker and be like, I'm not, hey. Tucker act like he on a roller coaster at his own interview. What? What? No, I'm not. That's concerning, right? That's someone could beg the question, right? And then, look, to be fair, I didn't watch the entire interview. Maybe he came out with a very convincing answer 20 minutes later. But the substantial portion that I watched didn't look great. And I don't know. We have, OpenAI with Sora, with ChatGPT. We have these large language models that are basically meant to take us to like the next level. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that. It just doesn't seem to be the case that it's taking us to what was promised, right? We were promised almost a higher consciousness. We were promised to be able to do our jobs with ease. And then in the backdoor deals, companies were promised that they'd be able to fire all of us. You know what I mean? There were always two simultaneous pitches. One, the pitch to us was like, this is going to improve your life. It's going to make you more efficient. It's going to be faster. It's going to get rid of menial tasks. The pitch to our bosses was like, he'll be out of here in like 3 months. You know what I mean? And so far, AI is failing on both those fronts. You know, because we aren't elevated to some new form of consciousness. If anything, AI is giving people psychosis. You know, plenty of people have AI psychosis and becoming like more normal quicker than people are realizing it's happening. And here's a good test of the psychosis, right? If they talk to the AI like a friend, that's it. That's the. Did they name it? Is it called ChatGPT, but they called it Clarence? Then yes. Yes, no, they're in it now. If you're here and you're like, don't talk about Jan like that, you need to break loose. I pray for healing in your life, that you can break the psychosis. You know, because these large language models, they are imitations of what it would be like to connect with a person. It's not connecting with a person. It's doing an imitation of a person. And it's doing a better imitation of a person than we've seen so far. Even Zuckerberg can't touch the level of imitation of a person. This is why people think they're talking to a friend. And the understanding is that AI is going to destroy the planet. It needs so much energy to make a video of Pikachu pulling a cop over. The actual model, like you look at Sora, right? Because they just released Sora, and it can do all these things. It can like make Martin Luther King rap or whatever. Like it can do all of these like very weird things that nobody asked for. And apparently, every single one of those things costs OpenAI $5 to make. So like when people are just playing around on the thing and they're just like, look, I made Bob Ross high five Gandhi, $5. All right? So they are burning through money. We don't have a sustainable system for the energy. So why keep doing this thing? The theory is that they are doing it because they believe that when they get there, this thing will essentially be some sort of like all-knowing, all-understanding, thinking further, thinking light years ahead of us. It'll basically be God, right? And if they could like own God, then maybe they will be like a God, right? Because you'll basically have the company. You'll have the company that tells you every move to make in the market to own other companies, every move to make to protect yourself from other companies that are come after you. You would be done. You would be, you know what I mean? And that's that's terrifying. That's a terrifying idea, that not only that someone would want that, but that they would barrel towards it at the risk of burning up the planet, of taking up all of the water, like it's an insatiable need for like power, for control, for influence. And then you watch the news and you see that these same people, these people that don't even know how to act like people, spend millions of dollars on a yacht that is basically a bucket. It's a bucket. It is. That's how you know they don't know anything. This is what you spent the money on, knucklehead.
Mira.